sometimes you might want to share the workbook with maybe someone you want to work with, or maybe you just want to send that workbook to someone just for review. So you have several ways you can do that. So you can just send them via this, you just share this, or maybe you just drop this to OneDrive, and then from there they can access it, and then from that point they can either make changes or you can restrict what they can do with that. Okay, I decided to log in with something different so that at least now, because in this one the email I'm using here is different, so I wanted to like share to someone else so that we can see how that works. Now in case maybe you want to share exactly the file that you have opened, you just click on here, share, or maybe you can just click on file, then you have an option here to share. So just click on share, and then you're going to have this. So the first thing you'll have to save to cloud. The cloud here will be in OneDrive. So you click on save to cloud, and this one you'll just click on the whatever drive that you have here. Sometimes you might have, we have several. We have Google Drive. We have now this OneDrive. So let me share something like this. Loan calculator. Yes, open that one. Not sure whether this one will work. Yeah, click on share. I'll save first to OneDrive. So it'll take some time. Sometimes, usually, the server sometimes are very slow. So you can just go ahead and I want to save it as loan calculator. I don't have any other there, so I just click on save. And now we have saved exactly this copy on OneDrive. So they usually call that cloud, because now OneDrive will just take that to cloud also, but then you have a local copy in your PC, because in my PC I've already signed in to OneDrive, so I have a local copy and one in the cloud. So when sharing, there are several options that you have here. You can invite someone, whoever you want to share this to. Like for example, I want to share with my next email, which is what says okay, no, this one is there key now, or this one actually the Outlook. No, I don't want to share with this. This is exactly the one that I've already signed into, so I'll just share with the other one. No, says, yeah, this one at live. Just click on it, and you can control whatever this person will do on that file. So this is where you just select whether they'll only view and not edit. So if you click on can edit, they have full control, they can edit and so much etc. Now you can include a message, so that maybe you want to tell them, hey, I have some comments on that file, so you can just check on them. Just a special message, say like a chat, you just want to notify them. Like for example, when you're sending an email, you have like email body and you have an attachment. Now the file will be the attachment and this will be the email body. You want to, hey, check the formulas there, they're not working. So yeah, something like that. You can just click after you're done. So I want to edit also from the other end. I can just click on share, and you can see now we have this already. So this is the person who is editing, and then we have this other person whom we've sent to. Let's see whether we can be able to edit on the other end while we still have this one open here. So I don't think it should actually not work, but then let's just try. Did I close? Control H, home. I hope I didn't sign out. Oh yeah, so we go to Excel as usual. This is Excel online. This is Microsoft 365, so the online version. So when you just see there's a slight difference between like working on Excel and working on that other Excel. Take for example, I'm working on Excel on my desktop, whichever offline version I'm working on, but I'm signed in using the same email. Like for example, okay, the difference between this one and the other one is the other one I've already signed in using an Outlook email. This one is live.com. But if, for example, I've signed in both of them using the same, any change that I'll make on any document will reflect on both. So if suppose maybe I don't want to work on the offline, I think I told you this, if I want to work on that offline, I can just go and work, and then when I connect to the internet, whatever changes will be made offline will just be affected on this that same document, but now the offline the online version will also be updated. So in case you just log in, you go to whatever document you're working on, you just find the same changes. But now we have shared, so it's a slight difference between now sharing and using the same email all over. So now that we've shared, and the drive that we are using is OneDrive, so you click on it to open a new tab, and you go to shared. You click on that, and you can see you have the loan calculator here. Click on it, it will open. And now remember, it's open on both the offline and online versions. So the workbook contains external data connection by features that not on. Yeah, okay, it's okay. I don't want to actually use them. So it's open on both sides. Now let me see whether I can be able to edit. You see, you cannot edit because it's open on the other end. So right now it's acting as if it's on a read-only mode. So if I want to edit anything on this workbook, what I need to do is to just go back, because we gave all the permissions. We gave all the permissions in the offline version, and we can't be able to edit, because this is what people usually like face most of the time. If you have shared your workbook and you want someone to edit, just close it first. Now you can see it's just closed. Then you go back, and you can refresh so that it will detect there's no other connection to this workbook. And from this end, you're still loading here. Okay. I know you're just loading. I know. So you can see now we can edit without any difficulty. So the workbook will have to be closed for the other person to start working on. So the same way, you can just decide to make sure that no one is editing. So the same way, you just go back to the shared, the document that you shared, and then from there you can just decide to limit how much of the actions they can do. Now, that's about sharing the workbooks. And also, this is when you open them on both sides, and you can also decide to, if for example, you decided to make sure that whoever is working on them can make changes, yes, but then you'll have to like accept, or they'll have to ask you, so that the changes will be made on that file. You'll have to like allow them first before you can review them, and then allow if you want to have those changes. And you can also you see, when the file is in use, it will just prompt you. You can't use it unless you just go back, you close it. Using it right now, you can just minimize, you can just cancel, go back, loan calculator, it will open, because now it's now open on our end, so we can be able to edit as much as we want. So in case maybe I decide to, like, let's say let's edit something here. So this will be noticeable when you go on the other end. So let's put some borders. I have all the borders, yeah, like that. And save, Control S. Let's see whether the changes will be affected on the other end. So go back to this, you go to OneDrive, but then remember you will have to close it if you want to make any changes. You go back to shared, of which, where are you? Yeah, shared, loan calculator, and you can see the changes are here. That was the admin, so they don't need to like either accept the changes. So these are the changes that we made. So you can share the workbook with someone after maybe you've done the changes, or you can even let them edit on their end also, and then you can also see the changes. So can be able to act on one document, several of you. Now suppose there's a formula here, but maybe I want them to correct. I can just come here and put a comment. So just right click and then go all the way to insert comment. If I click on it, you'll have this pop up, and then I can say, hey, change the formula. Change the formula. Okay, so that's a comment. If I hover the mouse there, you can see the comment is there. And suppose I just shared this worksheet with someone over the network, they will also be able to see it. They will just hover the mouse, because this red corner here will indicate, this triangle here, the red one, will indicate there's a comment there. Now, this is how I usually misuse this. So I can just decide to misuse that comment and embed something like an image there, so that I hover the mouse, instead of getting that comment, I'll get an image. So you right click on whatever cell where you want to insert that thing, then you click on insert comment, just remove the name, and then along the edges, you see when you hover your mouse around this point, you see it changes to a plus. You right click on that, and then you go to format the comment. You're going to see this pop up, and you're going to click on colors and line, and for the colors you can just replace this. So you want the fill effects, you click on this. After clicking on the drop down, click on fill effects, and you can go all the way to picture, because I want to insert a picture instead of putting maybe a comment or maybe a plain color. You can just go ahead and click on select. It will load and maybe give you several options. You can just get one from your OneDrive. You can search for an image, but I have one in my local PC. You can just go. Let's assume we are assuming this one is the image of that computer that we want to import there. So this is it. Now the image is there, so you can just click on OK. Now it's here. You can go ahead and do all the things that you want to do, but when you hover the mouse over here, instead of getting the comment, you're getting the image. So you can just use this to maybe showcase something. You have a list of several things that you want to show people, and you don't want to like keep explaining about them, so you can just put an image in there for them to just see what exactly that is. I usually do this most of the time when I'm doing tutorials, because sometimes maybe you want to demonstrate something, and like you want to show them what the field handle is. So you can just create a screenshot of that and then embed in that whatever you want to demonstrate. So it's usually very handy. So it's a comment. You can have so many options when it comes to comments. So yeah, you can also even, another good use case is when, for example, you don't know how to explain the issue with a formula, or maybe it's an error. You can take a screenshot of that, and then you put a comment there. And also, so after you've done all the processes that I've done, you can just send them, because it will take the image with it, and then the other person for the other end, they can be able to see exactly what you meant from the screenshot. So yeah, that. Removing the comment is just as simple as right clicking and deleting the comment, so it will just disappear. So editing the comments also the same way. After you are done, for example, inserting the comment, we have inserted our comment like that. You can just go back and edit it. And also then you can it usually come with the person, the name of the person that edited that comment. So if I'm the one who did that comment, I'll see it. If I send that maybe to my supervisor and they want to see maybe some other changes, they will put their comments, they will come with their name, so you can see, you can be able to track exactly the comments. Okay, so I think we can go to, unless you have a question, I think we go to formatting, some of the formatting. I don't think there's so much left here. So when it comes to editing the comment, I didn't do that. You can just go ahead and edit it from just right clicking and then having this option, so you can continue editing and you can just go ahead and do so much. Let me just remove it because I don't need it. And now we go to the formatting of the font. Now, just like Microsoft Word, we have so many options where you can be able to like format whatever the appearance you have. Let me see if I can have something that's not overcrowded, like this one. So you can see we have some which are bold, some which are not. So you can just use this palette here to maybe make those changes, although we have shortcuts for them. You hover your mouse, but I forgot to tell you, if for example you want to know maybe some more information about something, you remember when you are talking about accessibility, you can just hover your mouse over anything. Like for example this, you are going to see some of the description there. So when you go here, you can see exactly what you're going to do, and the shortcut. If I want to make something bold, like let's say I want to make this one bold, the same way, you see here you have a shortcut there, it's Control B. You can just click on it like that, it will be bold, or you can just press on Control B, it will make it bold, but then you'll have to have highlighted that cell. The same way to italics, underlining, And when it comes to underlining, you have several options. You can double underline or just put just a single underline. Double underlining usually come in handy when you're doing accounting and maybe you want to underline the total, so you do that using that. You can also even do that using the format cell. You can add even 3 or even 4 depending on what you want to format that cell according to. Now, something very interesting is the borders. We talked about them, but I didn't go into the details because I knew I'll be coming to it. I'll focus on it a little bit. But here you can see we have the fill color. There's a difference between this and this. This is the font color and this is the fill color. So when you highlight something like this, you click on the fill color there, so it will fill the whole cell. Or maybe whatever you have selected, I can select several of them and then click on the fill color. I'll just have that. When it comes to now the color, the font color, this is where you go to the cell itself, click on that. It will change only the color of that font. So you can just click on this in case maybe you don't want to have red, you have you want to put more options. You can just click on this drop down and you have several options. In case maybe here you still can't see the color that you want to import there, you can just click on more colors and you're going to have this. So from this end, you can put whatever color that you want. You can even customize the color according to the RGB. Okay, we have several color models. So you have the RGB and HSL. So RGB is the most popular one. So you can just go ahead and maybe fine tune to the exact color that you want. You can even use the numbers, the codes for that color, the combination, and then from there you can just go ahead and click on OK after you are done selecting the color that you want. The same case goes to filling. You can just click on the drop down. If you don't find whatever you want to fill with here, you can just click on more. It will take you the same way, but now you are now shading the whole thing. You are shading the cell, or maybe the whole selection of what you have decided to select. Maybe even, for example, you have a shape and you want to fill it with a different color, you can just use the same to fill that. So let me go to the borders. So borders, there are so many, they are different, and you can even decide to even customize according to how you want that to be, because this usually they make maybe your work look a little bit more presentable. Now when you look carefully, you can see we still have some virtual borders here. They are telling you maybe this is where that cell is, this is the other cell, but these are not, they're just virtual borders. They are not the actual ones. So in case maybe you want to remove them, you can just highlight everything maybe and then you fill with a certain color. I might decide to even fill with white color to blend with the surrounding. You can see now you don't have them. That is usually different from in case maybe I have all the borders like the ones I have here. If I decide to input another color, let me put something like this. You see we still have the borders, but the color will change. Let me change them to something more visible. Like this, you see we still have the borders. Again, you can decide to make sure that your workbook does not have anything. Let me just add a new one. You can decide to work with they're called grid lines. So if you want to remove the grid lines, you can just go ahead and click on view and go. You can see here we have the grid lines. Click on it, they will all disappear. I usually do this when I'm doing the pivot tables, pivot charts. They're very nice, especially when you're working on kind of a plain background, but the cells are there. You can highlight them, you can even reference a certain cell, but the grid lines have just disappeared. If you want to bring them back, you can just click on this grid lines and they'll come back. Again, you can just remove this header here, it's a heading, and also even the formula bar. In case maybe I want to make my this is the work. Okay, let me call it a workshop. This is where I usually do most of the work. So I want to make it a little bit larger. You can just decide to remove the heading. So anything that has the heading will just go. You see we have 1, 2, 3 for the rows and ABCD for the column. So if you want them to just go away, you just click on headings and they'll just disappear. Again, grid lines, the same way, they will just disappear. Formula bar is this one here. If you want to remove it, you just click on that and it will just disappear. Of which I don't encourage that, because sometimes you want to type something or you want to see the content of a cell. If I highlight that, you'll see whatever that's being carried in that cell here. Remember when I told you in case maybe you want to change something that's not here in this palette, you can just click on this. It will give you this drop down and you have all the things that you don't have. For example, Superscript and Subscript. You can see something like let's say a squared. Let's say I want to have this a squared. Most of the time when you're typing, you're in a hurry, just put a2. This will be a2. This is not representative of a superscript. So if you want to have a squared, instead of having this as a2, you can just have that as a. Then you click on this. You can not that one. You just go here, and then you go to Superscript. You make sure this is checked, and then you click on OK. And then when you type, you can see here, let's say this is a squared. A squared. Can you see it? Let me zoom in. My worksheet is trying to not work. I'm sure you can see it. So this is a2, but I want it to be a squared. So the same thing, just highlight that. Then you click on make sure you place the cursor there, so that whatever next you're going to type will be a subscript or a superscript. Click on this. Then I want a superscript. Click on that. Then you click on OK, and then I can type whatever too. So that will be a squared. Maybe I want H2O for water. I can just go to the same. Go to Subscript. Then click on OK. H2. And then can just decide to put O. If you so decide to put O, you remember you're still under a subscript, so you'll have to go back there, and then you make sure you uncheck that. Click on OK, H2O. But when it comes to Word document, they are just there. They are displayed there. You can just pick them. You just click them. You have this, and even you have the shortcuts here. You can see the way you can go to input a subscript and a superscript. You can see, just click them. The options are there, but in our case here, they are not there. And the advanced option, I will show you how you can be able to add your own option here, adding them, and even how you can be able to add a new tab and input whatever you want to, or remove the tab. You can just create your own tab here and put maybe some of the popular formulas that you want to have there. So the same case, you can just put the subscript and superscript the same way. Okay, so when it comes to the fonts, you can just use the normal ones. They're just all over here. And you also have some fonts which you can use to either create QR codes or maybe barcodes, like this one. This is, and I decided to install this one. So you can just find them online. You just make sure you come and install them, so that when you click on this, you can just search them, or just click on the drop down and you can be able to see whatever you want to see. So from the outline where you are seeing that the live overview of the font is, in case maybe you want to see how that will look, you can just highlight your fonts like that, and then you just click on whatever font that you want. Just click on that, and then you start hovering the mouse over them, so you'll see how it will look. Yeah. Now I remember something. Now let me first of all copy this table. Control copy. Okay, let me just copy the whole of it. After that, control copy. I just wanted to I want to paste the values only. I have them there. In case maybe I want to make sure that this table, this one, the one that I've created, looks exactly like this one, you can be able to copy and paste the format. Right now I just copied the values. I want to carry over the format only. Suppose maybe you have something else, you don't want to carry anything that you have here, you just only want to carry the format of that cell, because now you're talking about the formatting. You can just click on a format painter. What do you need to do? Just highlight the cell that has the format that you want to copy, and then you click on a format painter. Once you click on that, you're going to see, when you come to your workbook, you're going to see a brush as alongside the cursor. So wherever you're going to click, whatever the format was in that cell will be pasted in whatever cell that you have clicked. you can so decide to even do that for many cells. So you can just highlight one of them like that, and then click on Format Painter, and then you click and drag all the cells that you want to paste that format to, and then you release your mouse. So that thing will just paste itself there. So the same thing, let me just copy that one there, and so you can see the format that you have here. Yes, we have italics, and then you have bold, and we also have the background color, which is the fill color. If I click on Format Painter and then click on this option here, you can see everything will be carried over. You can see even the format for the bold and italics will be carried over by the Format Painter. It's very handy sometimes when you want to just only carry the format. And yeah, so the same way, let me see whether I can be able to carry everything as I go. Highlight it like that, then click on Format Painter. You come to the first cell here, click on it, and you can see it will copy everything on this table, the format only, and then paste it here. When you click on that first cell, it doesn't matter whether you started highlighting or your active cell is somewhere else. Even if you decide to start here, you go all the way up to that point there, you click on Format Painter, and then you go somewhere else here, you click on it. It will start from that corner that you have pasted, the one that you have clicked, and then paste all the way. And I don't think there's anything left here apart from now. These are the you can increase the font size. This is the reducing, this is increasing, this is also the same, but now you can work with a number. So you want to go all the way up to 78. All this here, you want to just fine tune. You want to fine tune slowly, you can just do that. Yeah, so basically that's about the formatting. Let's go to the number format. Number format, you can see this palette here. It carries most of the formatting, and in case maybe whatever you want to represent is not here, you can just click on drop down. You have more. In case maybe that's not enough, you click on this option here. You have everything else that's left there. We have so many things about the formatting, and actually you're going to even find most of the time being spent maybe doing especially when you're doing financing. There's so much formatting that's required. Yeah, like this one. You can see if I click on something like this, when you look at this window here, you can see this is telling me that this is accounting. It means that whatever I'm doing in here is a currency. If I click on this one here, this is general. You can even so decide to click to make sure that whatever will be in this cell will only be maybe a text only and not a number. So you can select whatever you want to have there. The same case goes to when you want to put something like a date. Now that's a date. The same thing, you want to create another version of that date, either a long or a short date, or maybe you want to have some other options. You can just go to date. Have so many other options here. You click on that, it will represent as a date, but now with a special format by just clicking on this option, then selecting another one. You have so many. Actually, you can even decide to even customize your own format. Like for example, I can decide to hide something like this. I don't want them to be visible. You can just go to the same. Oh, where am I going? There, you just click on custom, and you can see here we are in general, but I don't want that. I just want to create my own font, and not font, the format, which will help me hide whatever is here. So you do that by putting 3 semicolons. Oh, that would be semicolons, 3 of them. Click on OK, everything will disappear, but you still have those numbers there, because if you click on that, you can see from the bar here, you're having them there. Even if I want to type or add something, I can just so decide to add, and you hit on enter. It will still be there, but no one will be able to see it in plain sight unless you just go and click on that cell. Now when we are still here, you know, we can be able to hide whatever we have in the inside here. You can just decide to hide the whole of that column by highlighting it, right clicking, and then clicking on hide, or just disappear. If you want to if you want to have that coming back, you can just double click on that corner to come back. Now I want to make sure that the font or whatever is inside here comes back. Remember, we changed the format, so the only thing that you need to do, just highlight that, go to this palette here, click on a drop down, click on general. They're going to come back because we are just using format to create a facade of whatever is inside here. Now that's that. When it comes to $, this will only deal with currencies. You can even decide to change the currency by clicking on this option here. Go to currency. We have several more options here. You can just create another symbol. You can even see, even they have bitcoins and so many other things here. You have yen, Chinese yen, you have Japanese, whatever. I don't know their names, but you can, it's not only $, you can decide to work with something else so long as it's inside here. And yeah, you can even decide to handle how a negative number will be handled. In case maybe you want to have any negative number maybe highlighted by something like a red font, you can just decide to have that. If you want to have a bracket around your numbers, this is still the same point that you're going to act on. So that's about the finance, and this is usually very handy, especially when you're working with the arithmetics that contains financial aspect in them. Okay, so you can this is somewhere people usually have so much issues. The percentage, it becomes a very, very huge issue, because let's say for example you have one, okay, where are you, num block, I don't know why it keeps turning off. 1 2 3, say 4, can make them a little bit longer like that. Suppose I want to have them in percentage, so someone might just decide to just highlight them, then click on percentage. But what eventually will happen is, so multiply everything by 100 and put a percentage there. So it's a very wrong representation. One thing I usually prefer doing, in case maybe you know I want to type percentages here, before I type anything, just highlight your cells or wherever you want to put them, and then you start now. You first of all change the format of those cells. Like for example, I want to type them, so you can just click on drop down and then go to percentage, or you can just click on this percentage symbol here, click on that, and when you click on this cell here, you can see this is general, but when you go to the cell that you have formatted, this is a percentage. Again, if I type, maybe I want to have 1%, type 1, that will be a 1%, 2%, just like that. So first of all, you'll have to input the percentage, or you just decide to divide everything by 100 before multiplying, before changing everything there. So like for example, I want to create a percentage there. I have some numbers. The only thing that I need to do here is to say, I have 100 there. Not even, okay, let me just decide to just delete that. This is equals to this cell here divided by 100. So that will go all the way up to wherever you want that to be. Now when I click on percentage, everything will be very accurate. So that's that. You go to comma. This is when you want to like separate some of your figures. You can so decide to use either this to format the thousands that you have. Something you can decide to do, let me remove this ones here. Something very interesting here are you have the decimal points. In case you're doing some arithmetics and you want to control how many of the decimals that you should have, you have them here. You can just highlight them like that, and then this is increasing them. You want to have all of them, you can just click on this. You also even have a reduction. You can just click on just removing on them like that. That's more about the formatting. The formatting, remember we talked about the numbers, the currency, Accounting is the dollar sign, which so you can just decide to use whatever symbol that you want to have there. And the dates, we worked with that, and the time. And also something very, very interesting, in case maybe you have or you export data from a database, most of that usually come with a comma, with an apostrophe on top of it. So that will convert everything into a text, which means that if you want to like type a 0 in front of a number, let me do that, 0700 something, you can see that 0 will just disappear. But for that to remain, you can just go back there, type a 0, and in front of that 0 you can just put an apostrophe like that, hit on enter. You can see here you have 0 and now, and but yeah, I kind of forgot about this. Anytime you're working with a number, a pure number will just go on the right hand side of the cell. Anything that's that has a text or it's in text format will go on the left side of that column or whatever cell that you're working on. A good example is here. You can see the names are starting from the left, and here you can see the numbers are starting from the right. They are all aligned on the right hand side. And this is exactly the same thing that happened here. You see, we decided to put an apostrophe in front of the number so that we can be able to accommodate something like a 0. And I did that by just putting an apostrophe before that 0. So this will convert whatever number that you have there into a text. So this number, even if you so decide to like do arithmetic functions on them, this is not going to work. Should I do some of them? Yes, let me just do. Let me put an apostrophe there. You see it will align itself here. Same thing there. Apostrophe. I think those should be enough. Let me just remove this one. And let me put this to be slightly smaller. This one exactly like that. Now something that will tell you that this is a text is something like when you try to condition format, can highlight everything there, go to home, then go to conditional formatting. Maybe I want to use the data bus or anything. Even if you just condition format anything, like let's say highlight cells that are let's say or less or greater than something, let's just click that, and then you just select one of them. You see it's only picking this one. This is a text. In case maybe you want to like manipulate this as, let's say, data, the only thing that you need to do is if you click on that, you can see we have like an exclamation here. It's telling you exactly what's happening in that cell. So it's saying that the number has an apostrophe, so you're dealing with a text and not a number. So the only thing that you need to do is you can just click on this drop down here and then convert that to a number. If you click on that, it will remove everything from that, and like you can see, definitely it will go to the right hand side of whatever column that you are working on. And you can see now the conditional formatting is working. You can just go back here again, remove it manually, or just use that error to correct whatever is wrong with that number. Because I'm sure, especially if you are doing you are dealing with cloud computing, sometimes you want to get data from a database and then you want to paste that into, or maybe you want to export that into an Excel. Usually the case is they usually come with either as texts, and this is usually very terrible. So you'll have to get some formulas which will convert that into a text, or maybe you can just do that manually. I think I have a video on that. So you have several formulas that you can use to make sure that that number is converted directly into that text is converted to a number, so that you can now start doing, maybe if you want to do arithmetics, maybe you want to sum them, you want to get average, etc. Now I think the final thing should be the borders. I want to go through them really quick because there's nothing more about them. The only thing that you need to do is to know what kind of a border that you want. Just clicking on this drop down, you can just have the bottom one, top, left, right. You can just decide to have no border. Let me just first of all create a border. Let me have all the borders like that, and then demonstrate the no border thing. Click that, you go to no border, so it will just disappear and only the grid lines will be left. You will see these ones, they have a border, these ones don't have. You can go ahead and customize them a little bit more by either inputting all the borders or creating just only the outside border. Maybe it's a selection of cells. Let's say which ones want this ones. I only want to have the outer border. Just go back to the borders there. You can just click on the outside borders and you can see you only have, I don't know whether it can actually be visible, so you only have an outside border. You can so decide to make that a little bit thicker in case maybe it's not actually visible. You can just go back, highlight them, and then go back there, click on a thick outside border like that, and it became usually it will become a little bit more thicker. This is usually very helpful when you are formatting the table. Maybe you want to do that for your headers there. You can just decide to do that, and maybe you want to highlight the rest of the table from that corner there. You can just click on that to highlight maybe the borders of your table. This will be that essential. Maybe you're not satisfied with the options that you have here. You can go ahead and have double borders. You can have thick bottom borders. You can see them. You can even decide to draw them by just clicking on that. Clicking on drawing that border. If I want to draw, let me see, something like here. One thing you need to do, just click on that and don't release your mouse. You kind of drag. You drag all the way, that border will be drawn. The same thing, I want to have this going all the way. I want this one going all the way down. You can just draw that. And the same thing, you can just decide to either change the color, like you can just decide to make one very conspicuous. I'm not sure that this will be. And let me draw. Yeah, you can see we have the red borders. You can decide to make it a little bit thicker, or maybe change the consistency of that line. Maybe you want to have dotted lines, or maybe continuous or double lines. Let me click on this huge one there. It's a little bit thicker, so you can see this one is thicker. You can decide to do whatever you want with drawing the border. So this will be very, very handy. Guess maybe you want to draw them. So that's that. I don't think there's anything. Oh, okay, you can click this to have the borders, and now here you have so many options. They are more available here. You can decide to have no border by just clicking on that. Whatever cells will be highlighted, when you click on OK, everything will be removed. You can just decide to have an outline, and you are going to see this is the view of how that cell will look like. This will be an outline of that border, and then you can even decide to not have an outline. You just want to have the inside borders. Click on that, and you can so decide to even decide to draw them. So let me first of all remove them. Just click on the inside borders. You can decide to, let me select that one, and then you can decide to click the borders that you want to have. I hope you understand. So if you want to remove that border, just click on it, it will just disappear. If you want to put that border, or maybe a certain kind of a border, like for example, I want to have the outside border being a thick one, just click on that, and then I go to the margin here, click on that. This is the outside border, and then I want to have the inside border being like a dotted line. Okay, let me first of all remove everything. Let me just first of all highlight like some cells like that. Then go back to the border, more borders. Oh yeah, I see where the issue was. Now you can decide to like have an outline of the cells, like the one that you are doing here, outside border. It's the same as here. You can so decide to have no border here, just clicking on none, or the inside borders. Click on that, you're going to have that. The color, let me just get something that we had earlier on. Let me remove them. Now we have that, so you can select and then maybe decide to have an outside border or inside border, and again you can just remove by clicking on them. Yeah, like that. So you want to have a border in between, you can just click on that, this option here. It will give you a border which is in between there. Let me increase the size. You can just click on that just by selecting and then clicking on the border type that you want to have. Will just give you that line. Now I want to have like the dotted line. Click on that. I also want to have one which is horizontal. I click on that. I want to have the outside borders. You click on them, you're going to have them. But on the outside, I want to have a continuous line or a double line like that. So I'll just click on the line that I want to have, then click on the outline, and you're going to have that. So if I click on OK, everything will be replicated on the cells which we saw highlighted. That's like about the borders, which I don't think there is any issue unless maybe you have a question. Okay, so tomorrow we might go through shortcuts and some of the things I feel they are very essential when it comes to I actually call them quick tips. So they're very essential sometimes when you want to save time. So you can look at them tomorrow, and whatever I'm left with a beginner's guide, we are going to go through either tomorrow or the day after. So unless maybe you have a question, I think I'm off. I want to disappear.